everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Lana, this is Riley. Riley is my second born and I have a daughter who is 2.5 called Daisy. Today I'm going to be in the kitchen. Today is Sunday and I'm going to do a really big batch cooking day, food prep day. I'm going to get everything sorted for the week and yeah, I'm basically just going to get ahead for the week coming. So if you like this sort of thing, then stick around and let's get organised. So I started off today's batch cooking with some banana eggy bread. This was really nice. I had this myself and I also fed it to my 6-month-old baby and my 2-year-old toddler. It is actually a baby-led weaning recipe, but I really like it as well, and I had mine with golden syrup and blueberries. So what you do is you just mash up a banana and add 3 eggs and mix the ingredient together until it's smooth. There will be some lumps, but it's okay because you don't really notice them when it's all cooked in with the bread. So then take some bread. I only took 3 slices, but actually I ended up making 7 pieces with the mixture. So just kind of go with however much your mixture makes. My banana was quite big, to be fair. So I removed the crusts from my bread because my little baby was eating with us. If he wasn't and I was just serving this for my toddler or myself, then I would have left the crusts on. So basically you just coat both sides of the bread with the mixture and then fry on both sides for 2 minutes, and it makes this delicious French toast eggy bread style breakfast. You can freeze these, so half of what we had today went into the freezer, and then you can see my kids enjoying their breakfast this morning now. This is one of Riley's favourites with baby-led weaning at the moment. It's really soft, really tasty, and he really enjoys it. Just to say as well, some people would add cinnamon to the original banana and egg mixture as well for a different taste, but I don't actually like cinnamon, and as I was eating this today with the babies, I decided to leave it out. My next recipe is a slow cooker recipe. I find my slow cooker really helpful and I use it quite a lot. I like to use it this time of year especially. I pinched this recipe actually from another YouTuber. I'll link her channel down below. Her name's Kerry and she makes a lot of foodie content and recipes. So yeah, I will link her channel down below and you can have a look at her as well. So this is a green lentil cottage pie. This recipe is not only packed full of vegetables, it is actually vegan. So it's perfect for if you want to cut down on your meat or if you've got someone vegan that you need to feed. I basically prepped a load of vegetables, onions, carrots, celery and sweet potato, and I popped them all into my slow cooker. I'm not very good with actual measurements, so I basically just added a handful of lentils. I think the original recipe calls for about 200 grams. I then added some very lazy smoked garlic, some sage, some ground cumin, some salt, some pepper, 2 blocks of frozen spinach and a handful of frozen peas, and then a really good glug of onion gravy and a vegetable stock cube. I gave it all a stir, and I think the trick is to just get your gravy just to cover the vegetables. You don't want it to be swimming because it does release quite a lot of juices in the cooking process. So I left this on low all day and this was the result. I then spooned the mixture into a Pyrex dish and topped with mashed potato. I baked this then in the oven for about 20 minutes or just until the sauce was bubbling and the mashed potato was nice and brown. I served this with just some frozen broccoli that I cooked and it went down really well. We all ate it all together as a family and Daisy, my toddler especially, really enjoyed it. So once I'd got my slow cooker on, I decided to prep some sweet potato sticks for my weaning baby. So I basically just cut some sweet potato into finger shapes and boiled them until they were soft enough that you could squish them between 2 fingers. I think the general consensus with baby-led weaning is that so long as you're cutting everything to basically look like a finger, then it is safe to give to your baby. I will do a separate baby-led weaning video and show you all the things that Riley has been eating and enjoying. But anyway, once the sweet potato fingers were cooked, I let them cool down and then I'm just going to store them in the fridge this week in a Tupperware and then he can have them kind of as and when. Okay, so this next one, I didn't follow a recipe or anything. I just made it off my own back because I've done stuff like this quite a lot. So this could be a dinner or a lunch or literally a snack, or to be fair, even a breakfast. It's quite a versatile little dinner. So I basically chopped up some vegetables. I did some red pepper, some spring onion. I'd say that the vegetables are a bit interchangeable in this, like you can just put whatever you like in. But I would say that spring onions are a must because it just adds the flavour that you really want. It's yeah, it's really nice. So I used spring onion, pepper, broccoli and peas. And then I basically just fried that all in a bit of oil and just until they were soft. And then I whisked up, I think it was 5 eggs and a bit of salt and pepper. I just poured it into the frying pan and then just let it cook down on low for literally 2 or 3 minutes and just put a little bit of cheese on top. And then I put the frying pan with the mixture in the oven for just 10 minutes to make sure all the eggs were cooked through. And then when I removed it from the oven, I just tipped it out onto a chopping board and then basically I just sliced it up into manageable pieces. So if you were doing this for a baby or a toddler, I'd say finger shapes are probably better. So I did a bit of a mixture. I did some little squares for me and Daisy, she would have happily have had squares as well. But then I did some longer fingers for Riley to have a go at as well. This freezes really well. Although it looks like there's quite a lot here, some of this would end up in the freezer. And I think it can be stored in the fridge for up to 5 days. So yeah, it's quite a good, versatile little recipe, this one. So the next thing that I decided to make was a really, really quick and easy spaghetti bolognese sauce mixture. So I'm vegetarian, so this is going to be a Quorn one, but you could easily substitute the Quorn mince for normal mince. So I basically just diced up an onion, and my granddad had some tomatoes that he'd grown in his greenhouse, so we used those in the recipe as well, but you can obviously leave those out if you don't have any. So I just cut those up quite small and then I fried everything off in a large saucepan. You could do this in a frying pan, but I decided just to use a big saucepan. I added a teaspoon of the very lazy smoked garlic and fried that off as well, and then added the tomatoes and gave them all a really good mix. I then added in a generous amount of the Quorn mince, but again, you could just use normal mince. I don't think it really matters. And then once that had softened a little bit, I just added some tomato puree and some mixed herbs. My mixed herbs were coming out so slow, so I just took the lid off and dumped a load in. I'm not very good with measurements, so yeah, I just popped it all in. I then added 2 tins of chopped tomatoes. You could use passata, like the strained kind of version without lumps if you prefer, but I like the tinned version, so I've put 2 of those in. So I also added a little bit of water as well because the Quorn mince tends to soak it all in. So yeah, I added a little bit of water and then I basically just simmered that on the hob for about 20 minutes until everything was nice and soft and all cooked through. And yeah, that was it basically. I just seasoned with salt and pepper and it's really nice. Very, very quick and easy. Next up is just a bit of food prep. I cut up a pineapple and I got it all ready in a container for the week. This is really, really useful because it basically just means that the food is available whenever I need it. With 2 small kids, I don't really have the time to be cutting up fruit fresh as and when I need it. So it's good to do it beforehand and then have it in the fridge ready just to bring out when I need it. I cut the pineapple today into sticks so that Riley could have some as well. I also did the same to a cucumber, so literally just cut it up and prepared it all for the week ahead, and I took the skin off of some of the sticks because then it's a little bit more baby friendly for my 6-month-old. My next recipe was from my What Mummy Makes cookbook. I've really enjoyed getting this book back out again since Riley started weaning, and I've been enjoying making some of the recipes. So this is a breakfast recipe. It's blueberry oat muffins. So basically for this I peeled 2 bananas and then mashed them up. I added 2 eggs, some vanilla extract and some butter. I combined these all together and then added in some traditional porridge oats. I added in some self-raising flour, some cinnamon, some baking powder and some brown sugar. I mixed this all together, and actually because I don't measure anything, it actually turned out a little bit thick, so I just put in a tiny splash of oat milk just to thin it out a little bit. Once I was happy with the consistency, I added in some blueberries and then I portioned these out into the individual muffin cases. I then topped the mixture with the whole blueberries that it says to do in the recipe, and I baked these in the oven. I think it took about 30 minutes in the end. My muffins were quite big though, to be fair. And I did get approval from Daisy and approval from Riley, which is really good. It makes me a happy mummy. And yeah, I just really like this book. I think I'm going to make another video where I just make recipes from this book. So yeah, watch out for that one. My last recipe today is a fish pie recipe. So I cut an onion in half and I put a bay leaf in the top and let this come to the boil in some oat milk. I then cut up 2 leeks into small pieces, so I just did half moons, and then the other half of the onion that I didn't use in the boiling milk mixture, I just diced up quite small and added to the top of the leeks there. I then got a knob of butter and a little bit of oil and just fried off the onion and the leeks just until they were soft. And then my milk mixture had come to the boil at this point, and I added in some frozen fish. So I added in 1 bit of smoked haddock, a bit of cod and a couple of bits of salmon. And then I basically just let the milk and the onion all infuse into the fish, and I let it just poach nice and gently for, I think it was 7 minutes, until the fish was nice and cooked through, and then I just removed that from the heat. I then started making my white sauce mixture using my leeks and my onions. Forgot to film this bit, but I basically put some plain flour over the top of my leeks and onions and stirred it all together so it was quite thick. And then I used my milk that I used to poach my fish just really gently over the top of my leeks and onion every so often, just to make a nice white sauce. Once this had come to a consistency that I liked, I just seasoned with salt and pepper, and then I broke the pieces of fish up into smaller pieces and stirred that through. I then put this into a Pyrex dish and I stirred through some frozen peas. This would all cook when it's in the oven, so it didn't matter that they're not pre-cooked. And then I topped with some mashed potato, and then I baked this in the oven at a later date, so the footage that you see of it cooked is actually later on in the week. But yeah, I cooked it for maybe 40 minutes, probably because it was from the fridge, so it was a bit colder when it went in. But yeah, just until everything's nice and bubbling and hot. And yeah, it was really, really nice, and it went down really well with Daisy as well. So I'm going to leave the video there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed everything and give some of the recipes a go yourself. And we will see you on our next one. Bye!